I think the Holocaust was, I think, sort of the backdrop to everything. And I was very young when I became aware of it because we had cousins of my father's who came. I don't even know the relationship of this cousin to my father, but he was the only, or one of the few survivors from, or the only from that family. And he and his wife had both been in Auschwitz and had numbers on their arm, and they had a little boy who was my age. And, yeah, maybe almost a year younger. And there was me and my cousin that I told you about, who was a girl, and this little boy, and we were always thrust together. And he and I was told very young, if he wanted one of my toys, well, give it to him. Or if he wanted some of my stamps, my stamp collection, because, you have a lot and he has nothing, and his parents were Holocaust survivors. And so I heard about it very early. I heard stories. I remember hearing about the Death March when I was very young. I didn't know it was called the Death March, but this little boy, Ralph, his mother's describing how she only ate snow. And my parents were very, very interested in finding out everything that they could about what had happened. They would listen and listen and listen. They befriended other people who were survivors. They started collecting books, anything that came out about the Holocaust. And the books were in the house, and I would sometimes pick them up. And it was really, it was, and I used to have dreams about it, and that someone would come knocking on the door, and it was really very real to me, to the point that sometimes I would feel, is this all my imagination, and I'm going to wake up and find myself in Auschwitz? Or can it be that my life is so different? Because I was constantly hearing these things. And we learned about it a little bit in our Jewish school. And I remember my sister once telling me that she had to really distance herself from, the Jewish community at one point. Not that we were so much a part of it, but that she felt that for her being Jewish was just the Holocaust, and she didn't want to do it anymore. When she was quite young, she was chosen to light these memorial candles at a Holocaust memorial in a big synagogue. And, we all went, and she was up there on the stage. But later she told me that it was really hard for her. And so it was a part of it, a part of our lives. And the truth is that one of the things that discouraged me from really delving into Jewish history, and even history in general, was that I was always bumping up against this Holocaust. You couldn't avoid it. And it was, but I did try. I didn't read many books about the Holocaust, and I didn't want to know about it. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I actually went to Poland. I wanted to go, and I couldn't bring myself to go to Poland. My father had gone back in 1960, and he was invited to speak there, and he had a former student there who took him back to his little village, which we heard about. But I couldn't bring myself to go, and particularly I could not face seeing a concentration camp. But I was able, but it was okay to go to Russia, not Germany. But wherever I went, being in France, I used to, in Paris, I could always imagine a motorcycle with the Gestapo on it coming around the corner. I mean, I was aware constantly about these things. And it was what made me very different from my non-Jewish friends or colleagues, was that this knowledge of the Holocaust.